we sit in order, or does it
Pick a side. Whatever makes sense for you. It doesn't. Please don't step on that. It was a footrest. Now it's been put to rest. I think the rest of it's on its way. So proceed with caution.
So much for the footrest. I was looking forward to it.
What's up, Terrance?
What's up, Pat? How are you?
Why do you do the YouTube voice every? Okay. So I'm not sure how familiar you are with the project. But maybe around October, November, that kind of time frame, I wrote a proposal to the Arts Commission to create a collaborative lo-fi project remixing local artists' popular songs. The kind of unique characteristic, I guess, was to not only have it on streaming, but to have it on physical cassette tapes, and to create bundles that include the player, the cassette tape, USB drive, stickers, just kind of like a goodie box, right? I guess part of the inspiration to do that is the unique way in which we consume lo-fi compared to other genres, right? If we're listening to really any other genre, we're looking for specific songs, or we're creating our own playlist, right? Versus lo-fi, at least in my experience, it's not a let me search this artist in this specific song, right? It's no, let me put this playlist on, right? And if the playlist is good, the playlist is good. There's not as much of necessity or attention towards who the creator is or what the specific song is, if that makes sense. Also, the duration in which you consume it is different. You know what I mean? You might have that playlist on for an hour, right? Whereas even if you're listening to an album for an hour, you're very intentional whenever you're listening to it. You know what I mean? And so I thought that could be an opportunity for passive streams for artists, right? And then maybe even get to the point where we have enough hours of music, if this is done in perpetuity, to approach some of these local venues, right? Especially the ones that are paying large license fees to play, you know what I mean, popular music. It's like, hey, we got 8 hours of clean local lo-fi music, you know what I mean? Whether you're a massage spa or a coffee bar, whatever, you know what I mean? It's lo-fi, so it's pretty conducive to any establishment, you know? So we put a submission out, or we were taking applications. We got about over 130 applications, condensed that down to maybe around like 10 or 12. Invited those artists to re-record their verses, and take some liberties in terms of the delivery of it, and then brought some musicians in to once again just kind of create the whole to approach the whole thing as like a sample session, right? And then we just started kind of Frankensteining those different sound bites together, and we have what I'm about to show you. I want the whole project to, once it's finalized, to sound like you're taking a road trip and listening to the radio. And so I captured some ambient sounds and Foley of getting in the car. I took a trip to Charleston and got sounds of the Charleston Market, Folly Beach, of course the Columbia train, you know what I mean? Just things that you'll know whenever you listen to them or whenever you hear them. We have Fat Rat Cesar being the radio personality, similar to Samuel L. Jackson's role in Do the Right Thing. And then we have some ad spots, fake ads, but of real places. So right now I'm trying to get Greg at Curiosity. I just got the other Greg at Uncle Fester's, and then probably try to get maybe one more of just people that have been pivotal or influential in the music scene, the local music scene. Yeah, and I really like the direction it's going in. Yeah, I want you to listen to some of them.
I'm excited. It sounds, I mean, me knowing your work and knowing what you do with your own music, the fact that have curated this, because when you first told me about the Lo-Fi project, you know, I didn't my expectations were more of just like, okay, yeah, we can play it all the way through. But now with the added things of like the car and the ambient noise, it's like I'm gonna put this on and feel like I'm driving through South Carolina. You know what I'm saying? And giving that to people who are not from here, it kind of helps to give our artists like a place to reside inside of culture and the
Yeah.
culture of South Carolina. So it's like when people are putting this on, they're experiencing the state through the sounds of the artists that live here. So yeah, I'm excited.
For sure. I'm stoked for it too. So we'll just kind of, I don't want to say Russian roulette it, but for lack of better words, we'll Russian roulette it. And like I said, I'll just kind of show you the track list. They're not named or anything. They're just numbers. They're not
Untitled,
even
unmastered.
right. They're not in chronological order because it was like 1 through 15, and then this track didn't make it, that track didn't make it. So it's gonna look like I can't count, but I promise you I can. And we'll just grab some and get your feedback on it.
I like it. I like it a lot. I'm really fucking with the flow. I love the concept of like how you have it set up because I can see someone listening to this. The first thing that came in my mind was, who is this artist? And I immediately wanted to know what the song was when I hear the bars. So the fact that this is like sampling the original artist song is driving that curiosity towards like naturally driving the person who's listening to a curiosity towards what's the original music without saying, you know, how we're used to, hey, come check out my music.
Right.
You're indirectly doing it by like, let me create this experience for you. And you're going to ask those questions as you're listening. Like, oh, wait, is this an actual song? Let me Shazam it. Let me see the original version. So, no, I think it's dope. And it's easy. I can see this being like the full project, putting it on no skips if everything is in the same like pocket as this, which I'm knowing you, I know it is. But it's very like chill hop, something you just put on and I can do work. And then next thing you know, you've gone through the entire thing and you just put it on repeat and continue working. So yeah, I like it. I'm definitely gonna check out Mike's sound now. Like that was dope. Name is because when the beat came on, I automatically like I was like, this feels like it feels nostalgic listening to it. It's like sitting at your grandma's house and putting on your first rap album that you bought and just kind of like vibing out. That's what it felt like. So when he said that, this feels like home, and I'm like, you're reading my mind. And then you said his name. Yeah, like that's a part of a remix to an original song.
All of these are lo-fi remixes to original songs.
That sounds like it could be the original.
And his was especially difficult because the original already has like the lo-fi elements to it in terms of like the melody and whatnot. So it's hard to like digress from that, you know what I mean? Because like, man, this already feels kind of lo-fi-esque. How do we recreate something totally different? And the fact that he is singing and has a lot of layering and melodies over it and like harmonies and stuff to try to find something that's not even like in the same key but still like works, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it ended up being, I think, one of my favorites out of all of them.
No, that's dope. I approve. I like the direction of what I've heard so far. I'm now more curious about seeing the full, like hearing the full thing from top to bottom with all of those nuances that you were talking about before, like adding in the car door slam and just taking us through that journey of like sitting in a car hearing Fat Rat. Like that just sounds crazy because I can hear Fat Rat's voice as like a radio personality type dude. So putting that on wax, I know he appreciated that type of like cultural stamp because I feel like he's in a lot of ways been that for artists, you know, here. Like he's been the radio announcer. Hey, hip hop festival. Hey, I got stuff going on. Like showing us that it is possible
For sure.
to do this locally.
I'm so excited for whenever we locked in the date on the phone, I was like, I'm so glad that this could happen because I was thinking about like who else in the event that this falls through, and like nobody like made more sense to play that role than him, you know what I mean? It did. It wasn't, see, hold on. because number 5 almost didn't make the cut. And then a artist that is currently a student at Benedict College in the music industry department added to the instrumentation. It made me like it again. And then I took a section out of, well, vocals out of 2 different songs. Tiffany J, some of her harmonies, and then a piece of ad lib from Tony Esther, Thrift Shop, and made like a little interlude that is I like a lot. So it's one of those examples of holding on to something that you're like not sure about it until everything starts to come together, and then a lot of times those throwaways end up being like glue, you know what I mean, to put 2 ideas together or something, because I was easily gonna scrap this one and not even like keep the file, you know what I mean, because I was starting to get like multiple numbers that weren't gonna make it. And this is one of those ones. So shout outs to David Price, or artist named Sync EXE. Yeah, because he brought this one to life. And it gives some of the instrumentalists time to shine too, because there's some songs on here where you have Danielle Blood, who's the bassist in Death Ray Robin's band. And they came and threw some bass lines over a lot of these songs, and each one of them have a section that's kind of dedicated to just the instrumentation, you know what I mean? So it's not just them playing under a larger picture. It's like, okay, for this kind of section, yeah, sure, it's about the vocalist, right? But here's a section where you can just kind of dance around and do this call and response to another instrument. So like in the remix of Lamonte Foyer's song Loading, which Tiffany J is also on, Danielle Blood is kind of having there's a section where the bass and the synthesizer are kind of having this conversation and almost like arguing with each other, and this kind of back and forth. It's just nice, and it correlates with the content of the song too, because it's like a mental conflict lyrically happening too in the lyrics. So yeah, it's just nice. It's one of those things. It's very similar to the Crew project, where it's like everybody came in with pure intentions, right? And so even though it was like challenging and difficult on my end to kind of bring all of this together and the mixing and all the technical stuff, right? Everything is coming together nicely, right? Because everybody came in with pure intentions.
Is it too late to get Nick on? Because at the last show I seen this man play guitar. I'm hitting him up to be a part of my project for sure, because he brought the guitar to life. Like the guitar was intimately telling us how it felt. It wasn't, and he gets lost in it. Like,
and that's the beautiful thing about it, because it's like I want people to listen to this and enjoy it, but also start to get your gears going. Like, oh, this person would be dope for it. This person, because it's community based too. You know what I mean? I want to get to a point where we don't even have to run ads and stuff like that to do the submissions. It's like, hey, who do you think? You know what I mean? Because whenever we had those applications, a couple of people, there was a section in there. It's like, are you submitting on the behalf of somebody, or are you submitting for yourself? And there were a lot of them that were like, hey, I'm not an artist. I'm submitting on behalf of this person, you know? And like I said, we got about 130 something submissions, but like 50 of those were just people sharing and telling other people to apply for it and stuff. So I'd love to get to a point where we have to reach out to artists because people recommended them, you know what I mean? And just like yo, you were suggested, or you were recommended by X amount of people. We would love to bring you on. We think this song would work. You know what I mean? I think that would be dope.
That'll be a beautiful way of like giving back to the artist too, because I can see this becoming a series. Like when people hear the first one and they're like, yo, this is South Carolina artists, all of the influencers and people who are already tuned in to South Carolina artists will be able to add to the pot and say, this person be great, this person be great. So then you have, I feel like it'll be a self-feeding community, and that's the results that a lot of artists, I know that's what we want, is to be reached out to let, for our community to let us know that they know who we are.
Right, because the Amethyst project felt great in that way. You know what I mean? Like getting a message from Amethyst just being like, hey, they
been
won't. You know what I
invited.
mean? You've been
Yeah.
invited. Like that's dope. You know what I'm saying? And even if you're not if you're not hip to the first volume of this, you might come in and join the wave when we're on like volume 5, and then you
Yeah.
have to sift through the other volumes to see if the artist that you like was ever on one. You know what I mean? And then you find out Tony was on volume 1, or you find out this person's on the third one, or somebody that should be on it isn't on it yet, but we're taking applications right now. You know what I mean? So since we have such a dense artist community, like you said, I think that this is something that can constantly feed itself, um, which is exciting.
I can see this being very marketable to students too. I mean, being that you are a professor, and I know when I was going to USC, like finals week,
Mm-hmm.
they need something, and to give them that something instead of Adderall,
Yeah,
we're
I
gonna
was
put it
literally
in the
about to say
music
it's
for you.
lo-fi, lo-fi and Adderall. But yeah,
Exactly.
a
Yeah.
lot of our avatar are the coffee shop goers, the
Hmm.
urban outfitters, that whole kind of conglomerate, which a lot of them are students.
Yeah. Yeah. I this is gonna take off. You've made it. You've made it. You've put on the artist. I'm just speaking this into existence because nobody's doing this. Like nobody. I don't know two people that have, and best believe I'm gonna be one of the first people to buy mines, and I'm gonna do like a live catching this on wax. I'm doing an unboxing,
Love it.
and it's gonna be old school. I'm gonna have my Psyche hat on. I'm gonna open it, and I'm throwing the hat because you know that is the sign
Not the
of
hat for
fire. We gotta
you.
sling the hat somewhere.
I love it.
But yeah, no, this is the push. This is the creative thing that we need to really like push us forward as a community, as an artistic community, especially when it comes to the local musicians that we have here. Like that, like you said, this is the product. You know, this is something tangible, and we're used to being able to send MP3 files and have the streaming alone and have merch. And, these are things that we see all the time. But this is something I think when people look at it, they're going to be able to pinpoint this as an SC artist thing. And I'm like, that's the beginning of solidifying us as a community. And that's what's going to bring people to us versus us trying to fit in with other people's sounds. Like we need community and creating something that is ours to bring people to us. It's the same thing with Atlanta. The artists create culture. There's a reason South Carolina does not have culture because it doesn't support its artists.
Oh, oh.
But that's another conversation.
George Bush doesn't care about. That was your yay moment.
That was my yay moment, on a local level.
But yeah, I'm super excited about it. I'm excited for it as a whole, but like I said, just kind of introducing this as a concept and taking advantage of the fact that we're a smaller city, right? I don't think something like this would work or has as much potential to have an impact in a larger city. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the fact that Columbia is so close knit and that the music community is small but dense, right? And there's only a couple of places that you can go to kind of engulf yourself in that space, right? To go to those coffee shops and see a couple of these units, to go to Papa Jazz, or you know what I mean, some of these spaces that you already frequent, that you already go to for shows, right? And then starting to see that kind of branch out and expand to where everywhere you go there's a little piece of the local art community. The same way there's murals everywhere, the same way there's this everywhere, there's that everywhere. I think it's time that we have a space like that for music as well. You know what I mean?